Okay, so we're recording this. So Wilhelm, it is all you.
Yeah, all right. Let me open the different file. This is a more recent file. So here, I've heard some people may have problems with Fusion 360, and especially with the projection. And projection isn't really that complicated when it comes down to it. So let me show you what I mean by projection.
So, excuse me. So, Professor Smith is going to record this and publish it, or are we supposed to click record and?
I'm recording it.
Okay.
And I will publish it. Thank you.
Yep. All right. So to get back on track, so as I was sketching this wheel out to extrude the metal piece for the wheel, a simple way to get projection. Well, let me explain projection. Projection is basically wherever I want these purple lines to be, it is taking reference from the actual model itself. So if I were to delete these purple lines, and we're almost done with them. So it's not a complete model yet, but once it's a complete model, it will like give me the highlighted surface as you see right here, me clicking. And let me show you what projection does real quick. So I press P as a shortcut, and it will pop up a projection properties panel right here. And which is basically telling me is pick a geometry that you want it to project the lines going out onto your sketch that I have right here that's activated right now. So if I were to click.
So Wilhelm, you've already modeled the, you basically you did the outline of the wheel on the other view, and then you did essentially a revolve, right?
Yeah.
And so now you have the shape of the five where the spokes are essentially, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I took
cool.
the image and
Yeah.
revolved it. So, yeah.
And so now you're doing this shape, and we're gonna
yes.
try to join it with the wheel.
Yep. So I'm taking the wheel's projection as reference. So I press P again for the details to allow me to click on whatever object I need to reference the drawing. And if I look from the right side, if I click on this line right here, it will show the purple line going around. And if I click on the inside of the rim, the line will also come around as well here. And if I press OK, it will close up the drawing, and now we'll be able to extrude this out.
Well, that's cool.
Yep. And so I'm gonna just do a couple more just in case, because I don't know where I extruded it. And then I press finish, and that's just me editing. Before this, I did extrude it, so we'll just calculate.
So you extruded it, and then you did a fillet?
Yeah, so I could actually suppress it right now.
So the cool thing, everybody, is if you look on the bottom of Fusion, it's a timeline. You can go back in because it's what's called parametric, like SolidWorks, meaning that if you go back in the timeline and change, for example, if he changes the star, unlike AutoCAD where you extrude it or do the array, it kind of is like it's in an oven and you baked it. You can actually go back and change that portion, and it updates it down the timeline, right, Wilhelm?
Yep.
Right, so
calculates everything that you do changes.
Yeah, so that's a very great feature because you can change it and you're not essentially starting all over. It just updates all the procedures and fillets and whatever you did afterwards. Cool, Wilhelm, thank you.
So you want me to do the?
Yeah, it was just a projection. So Ausher, maybe you have a question. You'd be certainly welcome. So I guess you just didn't see how you did it. So just to recap, you had the revolve shape, then you went on the side view, and it wasn't on where it is. And then what you basically did was was a Control P, and that
just P,
and that opened up the projection window. And then you went in and said, okay, I want this to project at this line that you selected inside of it. Correct?
Yep.
And that's where and then did it automatically extrude it, or then you extruded it there and then you did the fillet?
I extruded after the sketch, but since this file is already been made, it does it. It also remembers what lines you made. So if you delete a line within Fusion and you put it back, it won't make any errors, and it'll just auto calculate that you've had a line in there already. So it won't make any too bag of damage, I guess you could say, if you accidentally delete something. If that makes
Okay,
sense.
I'm going to pause the record.
Good.
Cool.
Good to go?
Yep.
Alrighty. So yeah, to recap the projection. Projection is what it sounds like it's going to do. It's going to project the lines from the reference of the model. So if I were to click on this face or the line specifically, it's going to project it onto the sketch that we're currently working on. So if I press OK with that, it will make purple lines. That basically indicates that they're referenced from your actual model itself. So if I press P again, and let's go for an inside loop of the rim, I press OK. It'll make this purple line right here, which says it's projecting on the side plane. So it's gonna try to like do its best outlining the rim itself. So what that does is it helps you extrude this out as cleanly to the surface, to the rim as possible without having like any colliding objects, I guess you can say. So if I press complete.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you're basically projecting it to the line inside, wherever you want. And if you noticed, it cropped it down so it was only extruding or only to that area.
Yeah, so as you see, I didn't make enough projection lines, so it cropped it down as what you said right here. But if I were to go, wrong sketch. If I were to go back here, that's another wrong sketch. Let me go back to the proper one. If I were to make the projection lines up here and right here, just in case, to make sure I got the right projection lines on, and I press OK, it will make the projection lines. But I was missing something right here, so
yeah,
maybe clicked a couple more things. But other than that, that's how it really works. And you can see how it stays flush with the surface instead of just having like clipping corners. Projection helps a lot with aligning your object.
Yeah.
Okay, it's being recorded. So basically a construction plane it allows you to make a sketch on the plane itself. It's not like your typical artsy 3D modeling like Maya, where you can start your 3D model anywhere. You have to start off from a sketch, a construction plane, and then create your sketch on there to make your 3D model. So I'm gonna click on offset plane, and you can start off from an actual object or from your origin default planes. So I'm gonna click here, and then I could just drag it out to where I want it to be, which would be in this side of the car. I press OK, and it's disappeared because I have it hidden, but I just turned it back on, and here's my plane that I created for construction plane. And then from there, I could go up to my create menu. I could click on the down menu and have more options. But for this, I would like to start with face. So face, let me click on, you click on it and you decide what plane you want. So I'm gonna click on the plane that I just created for the construction. And from there, I could start like modeling the car. So I like to make 4 points. That's what face option does. You start with 4 points and you start with a plane. And you can see how it started with on the construction plane that I made right here. I can press OK and it'll start off. And now from here, you can start doing extrudes, which makes your life a little bit more easier, or you can just continue on with making your faces. So I could go to face, click that again, and just start off. You can't click in I forgot you also can't click on the air, so you have to have it connected to some other object. So the next best thing is to extrude. So to do the extrude, you got to go to edit form, which is this icon, and you could have a selection filter, which is like vertex, edges, faces, or everything. For this, I like to have edges, so it only allows me to select edges. So vertices, you can select vertices like corners and move them around. So I'm gonna start with edges, and how to extrude it is I'll press hold Alt and drag whatever I want. I like to drag it from the box because it gives me the most freedom and where I want to drag it. So I'll hold Alt and drag it out, and it automatically is trying to smooth it out. And then I can rotate it. And where you want your lines pointing is towards the center of the wheel where the pivot points are going to be, because it's going to be the most accurate when you start rotating it around, or you're going to get like some wacky geometry like this. So let me go back. And you want to keep it fairly.
Every time he stops, he hits the Alt. Is that right, Wilhelm?
Yeah, so I hold Alt, click, hold, and it will automatically extrude. I can still continue to hold Alt. The only thing that's changing is when I click and unclick. So I click, unclick, click again while I'm still holding Alt, and it will just keep extruding. And I can just rotate these around to the pivot point of the wheel, so it's the most like it doesn't look so bad. And yeah, you just continue on until you reach the bottom to where you want your flat end of the tire, or not of the tire, but like of the rim, I guess you can say. And you press OK from there. So I got my first thing. It doesn't look perfect, but this is a quick demo, so it's not, you don't have to be too perfect with it. And then from here, the car is more or less leaning here. And the great thing about form factors in here is that even though it doesn't save your history, you have the most freedom in rotating your geometry anywhere any way you want it to be. So you're not constricted by the planes you have, construction planes that you created. So I could just go back to edit form, and I'll have all selected, or you could go into your bodies folder and select that itself. But it won't let me select because I'm already in edit form. So I could just like cancel and just select that. And you can see it's highlighted in blue, which tells me that it's selected. And then I could just rotate it around like that. So I go here, rotate it, and just bring it in. And then the closer I get, the more increments it will allow me to do more precisely. So if I go, it does it by 5 degrees. If I zoom out all the way out here, it does it by, I guess it does the same increments. When you're doing the same increments in sketching, it'll do drastically different. So I guess you don't have to worry about increments when it comes to this. But you could also type in your degrees. So you could do 2 degrees slightly, and it'll get the way you want it to be.
But Wilhelm, Mark asked a question. If you want to change from millimeter to inches, if you go to document settings on the left,
yeah.
So the size of the car is right there. It says 4,470 millimeters.
Yeah,
you can
right here.
change it from millimeters to inches on the fly. You don't have right there. So you go to units, and then you could change it to inches. So when you're calibrating, you'd know the size, right?
Yep. The image is in millimeters, so I just click on this under document settings. It has a gear icon. You just go click on it, and on the right says change active units, and you can change it from inches to millimeters.
And then he did the calibrate like he did the wheel on the using the picture, right? The photograph.
I did the calibrate, and since this image does provide arrows of calibration, you could just click on these two ends of the arrows to most accurately have the
just go ahead and do that. Click on the image in Canvas.
Yeah.
And just to show them how you did it. So you did this, the side view, you right click, you said calibrate, and then you literally just go at the end of the one to the other, and then type in 4470, right?
Yep.
And so that's how you scale the image.
Yep. You could do the same thing with 2021 for the wheels, but either one will work.
Thank you.
And yeah, the same thing for the front. It'll provide measurements. And when you first like import the image, it might not be centered. So like the helpful hand is like just go right click, edit, and try to center it as best as possible. So this, or more or less, is centered, and I press enter or press OK, and there you go. Another helpful like hint when doing, I go over this in the video, it would be extruding these out and still having it sharpened, I guess you can say creased, without having it smooth over. So most of the time you're going to start, you're going to use edit form a lot. So another helpful hint is if you double click, you don't have to click every single line. You can just double click and it will go around the whole T-spline, and it will just, it's just a faster work process. And then from here, I can show you that I could hold Alt, and you can see how it smooths over. And
Is that on the edit form or extrude?
It's in the edit. It's in edit form, but that's where you
Yeah.
you extrude.
It's kind of like the way that you extended that line out. Okay.
Yeah. So there's that. There's two ways. Like how cars always have that sharp edge around here, towards like the end of the wheels. Here I have it smoothed out. So there's two methods to sharpen that out. You press OK. You could always go to like the modified down menu and go down to crease. And you could just double click this edge and press OK, and it'll just crease the line for you, and you got a sharp edge on demand. The other method would be just to go to edit form, hold Alt and Control at the same time, and then click out, and it will automatically crease it for you. So
just to be clear, Wilhelm, it's not extruding, it's taking that line, the outside line, and just creating a whole nother.
It's still extruding, but
yeah, I guess it's extruding the line, not the surface.
Yeah, it's extruding the line. You can also extrude surfaces as well.
Yeah.
Let me see if that even works. It acts differently depending on how you do things. Let me show you an example. It's hard to click. I got this thing in the way. I could just hide this, go here. So this is a form that's closed. If I turn it, right now it's like a body, but if I complete it, it'll be a complete body. But most of you, if you're making a car in Fusion, you're going to be working with surfaces. So if I were to delete this surface, you can't do that while in body. You have to go back. If I delete this surface and complete it, it will turn into a surface type of model, which is a different way of modeling. So instead of solids tools, you go to the surface tools right here, and you could actually just patch that up if you want. Click on the patch icon.
All right, let's get back to the car and let's start just modeling the car then.
Yeah.
Using the form.
Yeah, let me backspace. So I can just model the car from here, go edit, start, hold a Control Alt and drag out, and I have my wheel, so I could just drag it out here, and it just seems a little off to me, so I'm gonna just drag it to the middle. And then I kind of want this to be rounded out because it doesn't, let me hide, well, I can't hide the previous model, but it's more round here, so I could always add a edge loop. That's what they call it. So I go into modified down menu, insert edge, and whatever line you have selected or unselect, you can always unselect and it'll start like deselecting stuff. And the green line is basically showing a preview of where your line's going to be. I press OK, and it's going to try to like calculate where your line's going to be. And then you can always go back to edit form. You could double click here and start moving it slowly and just try to like form it to the car itself. It does take, it's kind of tedious when you start doing cars like this because you have a bunch of creases and everything, but those are the small details you could always edit in surfaces when doing extrudes and cuttings and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I just start
So
modeling.
this is, and then you did half of it. Is it symmetrical, or are you gonna, what do you?
Oh yeah, so okay, so the way you want to get it symmetrical. So say you have like a good amount, but you don't really got the clear vision of what the other side is going to look like. So how you would do symmetrical is go to symmetry features, and if it's not already like together or combined, you can go to mirror duplicate. If you hold your cursor over the feature, it'll describe what it's going to do, like what I'm doing right here. So mirror duplicate is going to do two objects in a different area. So I click that, and I gotta select what T-spline body I'm gonna select. So this is the only body I have. I click that, and it just tells me to click a mirror plane. So this is already automatically origins to the middle. So I click on this plane, and you can see a preview of it. And I press OK. And the fun thing about symmetry is whatever I do to this side will happen to the other side. So if I go to edit form again, and I show you this, it will happen to the other side. So you don't have to do double the work.
Nice.
Yeah. Another thing is if you go to edit form, you could also specifically go to tangent lines right here and move around the lines within the object. And say you like screwed up like the way you want to model it, and you can't find the exact perfect alignment, like these green dots. You can always click on the properties panel for edit form, and here you see a link tangent handle, and with a yellow chain, you click that and it'll go back to its default green handle, which basically means it's gonna it's trying its best to calculate what's the best default smoothness, I guess you can say, it's going to be at. It helps a lot when you accidentally click on them and you have a whole bunch of red dots and you're like, I don't really like the looks of it. Try like just highlighting everything and clicking that yellow chain, and it will smooth everything out.
So Wilhelm, I would imagine when you get error messages, that's how you'd fix it. No, because sometimes when you fold it underneath, it just won't ever finish the form.
Yeah, so the error messages you can get, and I can go over some errors that you may look at or see.
Wilhelm, do me a favor, continue modeling this. I like what you're doing here.
I'm not confident in it, but
you're doing great.
All right, so I can continue modeling. I'm gonna do the front real quick. So I'm gonna just hold Alt, get close to the middle, press OK. And if I want to merge this together, I can go to, I go to modify and go to merge edges, click that. And what this is asking me is click all of one sides, all of the sides on the edges, and then on the second group, click the other side. That's going to match it. So I double click this side and then click the select button for the second group. Click that side, and then I press OK, and it will try to calculate where it's going to merge. And this green line represents that it's successfully merged and it's going to be symmetrical wherever you model it from. So if I go to edit form, go to vertex, click this vertex.
Wilhelm, do me a favor, make your car a little bit more transparent, opaque, so we can the pictures.
Yeah, for sure. So, let's see what I'm doing wrong. Okay, 10%.
Yeah, so we can kind of see what you just did. All right, very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, the green line means it's like properly merged and symmetric at the same time. So I can go to edit form, click vertex, and since it's symmetrical on the green line, it will not allow me to move side to side, but it'll allow me to move up and down. I just crashed. With form